right, thanks for being there. You're watching TVC Breakfast. National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is now to collaborate with secondary school principals towards curbing abuse of drugs among the youth.
Now, Osun State Coordinator of the agency, Babatunde Yusuf, stated this at a stakeholders meeting on youth against drug abuse held in Osogbo. And this comes as a survey conducted by the federal government revealed that 14.3 million Nigerians between the ages of 15 and 64 years abuse drugs. Our TVC News correspondent Rafiu Hamid reports on that.
It is a school-based drug abuse prevention program targeted at secondary school students. This is because drug abuse is said to be prevalent among youths. Changing this trend necessitated this stakeholders meeting to creating awareness towards the implementation of Youth Against Drug Abuse project by NAFDAC. Various speakers highlighted the implications of the act.
The motive behind it is that, as we all know, drug abuse is at increased level in our society, especially among the youth.
The drug distribution system in the country is still very porous. So if they don't get it in pharmacy, they don't get it in the hospitals, they definitely have sources they get it from. People abuse things like excreta, some other weird, substances.
Participants said they've been well equipped on the effect of drug abuse.
I'll just say that to say no to drug abuse because of the effects.
It's a very good program. It's highly interesting. In fact, we have learned a lot today from the lecture, from the series of the lectures and the drama play. It's highly educating and interesting.
Various speakers at the program commended NAFDAC for the initiative. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
And we have in the studio to discuss the rising rates now of drug abuse in the country. Human Development Personnel and founder Jerome is Talking Limited. Jerome himself, that's Jerome Yauvi Onikbede. Thanks a lot for joining us.
My pleasure, yes.
Good morning, Jerome.
My
nice
pleasure.
to see you.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You call the Yauvi, you try it anyway, because that's the name everybody,
Mine's difficult too. Okay. Okay, take us through the...
It's actually Yauvi.
Yauvi?
Jerome Yauvi Onikbede.
Onikbede.
Yeah. Because Jerome...
Yauvi doesn't sound even Nigerian.
It's not actually Nigerian. It's Ewe. Ewe cuts across Republic of Benin, Togo, and Ghana.
Oh. And you obviously have roots.
I do.
There.
I do, yes.
Strong roots.
I do.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Because Jerome Onikbede is in your face as it's right. Familiar. You're familiar with the name, but then I almost tripped with that.
No, but you tried. I was waiting for you to do that, but you did a great job. Wonderful. Yes.
Thanks, Mr. Onikbede. Thank you. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
It's a serious topic now, having to deal with more serious cases of drug abuse, especially among the youth. I mean, how critical is this for you?
Well, it's very critical because right now a lot of young people don't even know who they are. Once you have a problem with identity, you have a problem with defining yourself. Once you cannot say this is who I am, you can be anybody at any time, doing anything with anything you think about. And when you have that, and we have chaos, in our hands. We have a lot of chaos. For example, let me give you an instance. When we used to go to party, I'm talking about when I say we because I look at the three of us and I see that we belong to the same generation. Right. Now, when we used to go to party, we're expecting to go to something very decent. As a matter of fact, you find your father upstairs or your mom, they're looking, they're greeting you. So and everybody's well behaved. Everybody, you find individuals behaving themselves. We don't have that anymore. What we call parties right now are what they call raves. Be sure that in any party, there's going to be trouble. Something is going to go wrong. Do you understand? So I use the party as an example. So when you have a group of people that think like that, they're like trouble waiting to happen somewhere, then nobody's safe. Because you find a place, we're talking about, we want to be safe, we're talking about security in the country. How can we have security in the country when the people we walk with every day, we are not even safe with them? We're not safe with them because when you're on drugs, your perception has changed. your emotions, you don't feel like a normal human being anymore. So you can hurt anybody without even realizing, without even feeling bad about hurting that person. Do you understand? You no longer, you can't even see yourself. You don't even know who you are. So you can't even see yourself the way you are. So you, like I keep saying, you do things anyhow. That is a big problem. That's a very, very big problem.
Why do we have this degeneration of, I don't know if I should say degeneration of values or something, but growing up in the last 2-3 decades, it never used to be like that. Everyone was growing up looking forward to, you know,
a future
where, you know, you're going to make contributions to a great nation, make Nigeria a wonderful place. What has really changed? Where everyone wakes up now, there's so much frustration and there's so much strife amongst people, where it pushes them to want to
the time you're talking about, we had direction. You know, Nigeria actually had direction. We knew where we were going. We could identify ourselves. We knew who we were as Nigerians. Do you understand? Everything worked to our favor. Do you understand that? Things work to our favor. We have, unfortunately for the young people right now, it's not the same thing anymore. Things don't work for their favor. Do you understand? For example, I'm a few days in Lagos and days in Benin Republic, Cotonou, because we run retreats. We run private retreats so that people can just retreat themselves, right? And you find out that when our children, because unfortunately right now, a lot of our children are now the ones who are going out to look for education somewhere else. And if you see the structures of these places where they're going to get educated, you will weep, because it can never be compared to the structures that we have in Nigeria. Do you understand? The days you were talking about, it was the Americans that were coming here to study. The Europeans were struggling to want to be in this country as exchange students. They heard so much about Nigeria. They wanted to be a part of Nigeria. They wanted to taste, what is it about these people? We were a people. We were people who knew who we were. We were going somewhere, and everybody knew where we were going, and we all walked towards it.
Jerome, let's look at this through another approach now.
All right.
I've listened to your last two comments now. Now you say, okay, perhaps the system in the country may have a hand in the feeling, abuse of drugs now. How do you tackle it? How do you correct the system? Is the system even aware yet now of this deplorable use of drugs among the youth especially?
I would think that the system is aware to a large extent. Let me give you an instance. If I am somebody who wants to be in a particular office, right, and I want to get into that office at all costs, I'm not going to take any of my children to fight for me. I'm going to want, a lot of those young people out there who I know already don't know who they are to fight for me. And sincerely speaking, I will make hard drugs available for them, irrespective of the fact that I also give an impression that I'm fighting it. Because these guys who have to do those things are usually always high. No normal person, who probably is thinking right, will get out there knowing he can be killed at any time. Nobody's going to do that. So you find out that, yes, to a large extent, it may work for the system, maybe not everybody in the system. It may work for a group of people in the system. Unfortunately, the group of people in the system that it works for wield power. So what can you do about that? Do you understand? But then, do we then say that that is just it? Maybe also not. Like I brought about the case of hopelessness, whereby right now, our young people, honestly speaking, don't know who they are. They're passing through the border, and you are calling them, you are telling them to their faces, these corrupt Nigerians have come. Do you understand? There was a time at the border, the Nigerian-Benin border, that I went there because the students were talking about the way they were treated so badly by other people, other nationals. And I went there to try to talk to them. The next thing they said to me, they said, okay, sir, you know what you need to do? Just sit down, just stand with us and do our job with us today. Just wait.
Let's watch.
Watch. I noticed that when the Nigerians started coming in, the Nigerian youths, the way they had their hair, the way the girls were dressed, some of the girls were not even wearing pants or bra. I said, what's going on right now? This is a people who don't really know who they are anymore, and they don't know that they have to represent anybody anywhere. They don't even see themselves as ambassadors, you know, of anywhere. So at the end of the day, Nigeria is continually being misrepresented. Do you get that? But then what makes it even worse right now is the people, the outsiders say the worst things about them, and these young people hear that every day. And that dirtens.
Worsens them.
It worsens. It dirtens that aspect of them that is very vital. Identity.
Do we lay this blame on the table of the government for this deterioration or devalued standards or benchmarking of societal behaviors?
You know, I always like to take the concept of the government being everybody. Do you understand? I want us to see all of us as the government. I want a society that every individual is going to take responsibility for whatever issues we have on ground. And I'm not trying to be diplomatic here at all. What I mean is this. The Nigerian society have blamed the government long enough. What I mean by that is this as well. If, for example, we have a government that is not working or doing anything, then I think the people can take power and say, we don't like what is going on. And, you know, let the government know we are your people.
Yeah,
but
isn't that just an ideal assignment the people have to do? But when it comes to the realities, we all know how incapacitated the people are by that.
Without the government's intervention.
When you say the people are incapacitated, that is what they keep making the people think that they are incapacitated. The people are never incapacitated. The people can always do something at every given time, even if it's an individual. An individual can start something, and every other reasonable person can say, this is a good direction. This may take me to where I am actually going into.
But let me just illustrate now.
It takes one a black woman to say, I'm not going to get down from a bus in the United States.
To spark change.
Exactly.
But back here in Nigeria, you just said, you know, there's a center, there's a retreat now for hurting youth, if I can use that phrase now, in Benin Republic, for example.
Yeah.
And then you want to check now, how many centers, how many government centers do we have to rehabilitate youth now? How many do we have? You go to Kano, you go to the north, across the country, in Lagos, other than the private centers, of course. Can we start from there?
That's a fantastic starting point. That's a fantastic starting point, because as you talk to me right now, if I have to look at what people are going through in the area of cancer that kills, that kills every day. Do you know that when you have cancer in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you're doomed? Because even to run tests, proper tests, you don't have a good testing ground. You don't. So let us even look at cancer that's killing everybody every day. And do you know that the amount of Nigerians who are actually having cancer right now is increasing by the day? So we have a lot of ills that are increasing. But people have representatives. How many people really go to their representative and let them know, we have this need. You're not meeting our needs. We're not going to, we're not even going to allow you to go into your house. We're not going to allow you to see your family for some days until you attend to us. Is it that the structure is not there? We have local governments. We have the council. We have all of those things. To be frank with you, the people have got to take back their power. Look, let's not fool around. If I am very, very comfortable, I may likely not see the person that is suffering. I may not even be able to identify with him. I can look at him, but I might not see him. Do you understand? Because I am so comfortable, I'm living in my own bubble that I cannot even, the needs out there don't even touch me. If the needs are ever going to touch me, you got to bring the needs at my doorstep and say enough is enough. I'm going through a lot here and you don't seem to see me. And I wonder why you only see me when you want to be elected into office.
All right. The statistics are that 14 million Nigerians between 15 and 64 years abuse drugs in Nigeria, and the NDLEA has come up with their own figures too, that in the year 2018, about 5 million kilograms of drugs were impounded at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport.
Right.
Now, putting this all together, NAFDAC has its own statistics and figures as well. If we put all of this together, what potential catastrophe do we find ourselves right now looking forward to, either towards the coming election or even in the year as we get along?
Yeah, you see, the problem with, let us look at the coming elections. People don't even know where they belong. So they can sway like this and be swayed like that. They can fight for this side now on the same day of election. They can fight for this side now. They can fight for this. Somebody can come and say, and so you find them, they came for a group in their minds. But because the way they think right now and the way they see things has become, they cannot really define what they see. They don't even belong to themselves anymore. They belong to the drugs. They belong to substances that actually affect the way they think, the way they feel, the way they perceive things, and so they can be swayed, and that makes it very dangerous. So you think you are the one with the crowd, only for you to find out that one pay, I won't say a lot for him by 5,000, 50,000, they will just sway. That's dangerous enough. Because you thought they were going to come and you thought they were going to come and fight for you. But you're actually only shortchanging yourself. Because the people you're dealing with don't belong to anybody. They do not belong to anybody. It is the case of what we have with Boko Haram right now. Right now, Boko Haram does not belong to anybody. They belong to the highest bidder. That's what they belong to. So if you are the one who actually brought them in, and they have a person who can pay better, they move.
Well, if you say they belong to the highest bidder, are you saying that they've been swinging between those who have been paying them and those who are paying them belong to different camps as well? Is that what you're saying?
They belong to those who have been paying them. Because when you're in a state of hopelessness, do you know when you're in a state of hopelessness, crumbs mean a lot to you. What you will do things you never in your life ever thought you will ever do.
But it doesn't look like that's the window Boko Haram is operating from, especially when you look at so much resources that is at the disposal of Boko Haram, especially when the U.S. government and other international agencies have come out to say that, well, Boko Haram is being financed by so much money they are getting from ransom being paid from people they kidnap here and there.
And this issue of terrorists operating in the country now, are you now trying to link it to the manifestation of drugs, even in these groups? Of course, there is a huge link now between drugs and crime. Absolutely,
absolutely, a huge link between drugs and crime, because there's a lot of proliferation of of waves and ways going on around. Do you understand? And once that is going on, you can actually take a lot in from a border to a border, because you actually think the place is not safe. But if I'm going to bring in drugs, why you think it's not safe, that you're not able to watch, that's where I'm going to bring it through. Do you understand? And once I'm able to bring it through there, don't forget the guys who are also protecting me, who you say that you call the terrorists, are also going to get their own cuts out of it. But it comes in anyway, and it keeps coming in, and it keeps coming in. And not just that alone, arms also have the opportunity to come in, because you feel that place is not secure, and you cannot protect the place, and so all these things keep coming in. Do you get that?
You just made an example now of, terrorists. Now, what about this example now? While the authorities, the troops are trying to stop Boko Haram, for example, now from storming into villages, kidnapping people. God forbid they kidnap someone now and give the person drugs, and that way the person's brain is washed, and then the person has this feeling of, I want to correct ills in the world. Isn't that also how drugs also spread?
That's how not just drugs spread. but also
and the dangers,
but also
of course,
trafficking of human beings. When you're being trafficked, one of the things that that's induced in you is the drugs, because you have to be under control. And what drugs really does to any individual that takes drugs is that they come under control. And as long as this can be curbed, as long as a lot of, and the thing about drugs is drugs can be so, it gives you this strange feeling. Let me tell you something that might shock you. You know, while I was in school, I was with this group of friends, right? They're not supposed to be my friends, but they became my friends because we were all hurting, you know, and we had our own ways of doing things and going about things and seeing things. And so we all came together. I was in St. Finbar's College, Akoka. You have CMS Grammar School, Ibobi College. Everybody was sitting down. And this was in Bariga, this place I'm talking about that we went to. But you find even people from St. Gregory's College, leave Obalinde, and they found themselves in this particular place. So I was coming in there for the first time with my group of friends. When we got there, and there were females. As a matter of fact, you'd be amazed that there were a lot of females. So when we got there, before you knew what was going on, I just noticed that they were passing something around, one white thing that was stuck, you know. And as soon as they passed this on to me, because everybody was taking it, so I tried, I popped it, you know, and then I passed it to the next person. I watched what they were doing. I didn't want to look like a novice, and before you know it, they passed it round. Do you know that by the time we got to a point, everybody was talking, I just found I was happy. I was just very happy. My problems were over. They say anything, I just smiled. I just kept on laughing. I felt good. By the time I got up, I walked in that place short. When I got up and I was tall. I felt good. I said, this is the life.
Yeah, so that is what the drugs does to anyone.
That's what it does.
And certainly those feelings are not that feeling is just
it's not
a
real.
Bubble. It's not real.
It's a bubble.
Mirage.
It's a mirage. Yeah.
All right, we have to leave you here for now because we still have other issues to talk about when it comes to this. Jerome Yalvi Onikwade, thank you so much for coming on
My
the program
pleasure.
this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.